Alright guys, so this is the first movie day of 2020 and this year's, or this decade's first movie is The Grudge. So, I'm not expecting anything, to be honest with you. I know what to expect and I know it's gonna be trash. But let's go check it out and I'll tell you guys the truth. So, let's go.
The young succeed the old.
Enjoy the show. Alright guys, so The Grudge, the first movie of that I've seen in theaters not only in 2020 but of the decade. And man, I don't know why I do this shit to myself. The Grudge is your definition of a your typical January movie that's just there. Um, this movie is worthy of that January release date, and it owns it. It owns that shit. It knows that's a January movie, and it just owns it. Oh man, what a way to start off the year. Already, let's just get to it. The Grudge is fucking horrendous. There's just nothing about this movie that really redeems itself. Uh, it's just another one of those just cheap horror movies that has no effort to scare the audience or creep the audience out. Everything that's supposed to be like scary in this movie really isn't at all. One thing that the movie does different from other horror movies is the jump scares. In other movies, if you know me, I'm not a huge fan of jump scares. I mean, sometimes they work, but most of the times they just feel lazy and they're not like they're jump scares aren't my favorite. They need to be portrayed in a certain way for them to be creepy. And in this movie, at least to its advantage, unlike other horror movies, this movie just goes straight to the jump scare. Like other horror movies, like has like creepy music leading up to it, and then you know exactly when the jump scare is gonna happen, and it just makes it kind of less scary. Like yes, you still jump, but it's not really that scary. And this movie, at least, it gives you like jump scares, just straight up just jump scares, without no lead up or anything. But even with that, they still feel cheap, and the jump scares weren't effective in this movie. It just felt like they needed jump scares just because this is a horror movie, and it does not work the way that I think that they wanted them to work. Uh, and the movie's fucking story is a fucking mess. It's one of those movies that like starts off at present day, and then they go back like what 10 years back, and then they're there for like 15 minutes, and then it goes back to present day out of nowhere. Out of nowhere, like you still think that's the footage from 10 years ago, but it's present day. I don't know if that makes any sense. They just keep on switching back and forth and back and forth, and it just it just makes the movie messy, and it makes the movie just like a hard time to follow up with. The story isn't anything new. It's nothing compelling. It's if anything, it's just awful storytelling. Like again, the way this movie is told, again, they just focus on present day for like 10 minutes, and then they go back to like 10 years ago and focus on that, and then back to present day, and then back to 10 years ago, and then back to present day, and it just keeps on doing that for the remainder of the movie, and it just makes the movie it makes it a hassle to watch, because you got to keep on remembering all these events that happened 10 years ago without getting messed up on which timeline you're in, if that makes any sense. So whoever edited this movie is the fucking worst at editing, and they don't know how to do it. So they should immediately be fired from their job. And the characters in this movie, oh man, I think it's been a while since I did not give a shit for any of the characters in this movie. We even have John Chow in this movie. He's obviously the best actor in this movie, and he wasn't even good in this movie. Like the character that they give him to play has such little screen time. It's just a waste of John Chow. Like why would you even get him in this movie? Especially after he made that movie Searching, which was pretty damn good, by the ways. Why would you put him in this movie for him to have like 8 or 10 minutes of screen time? And why would you waste them like that? Why? And there's this one certain character that they really try to make scary. It's this old lady. It's the lady that was in the previous Insidious movie, and they try to make her creepy and scary, almost like that old lady from It Chapter 2. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of It Chapter 2, at least that scene was kind of effective. And in this case, the way they want to do that scene, like it, Oh man, like I'm just I can't really like talk about this movie because if I'm being honest with you, like I remember some of this movie, but like the movie is just so lazy that I forgot like 80% about this movie, and I'm just saying things that I remember thinking after watching the movie. So there you have it. The movie is forgettable. It's not scary. The story doesn't flow any good. The pacing, the pacing is it's so off. Like the movie is only like an hour and a half long, maybe like an hour and 20 minutes without the credits, but the movie feels like it goes on forever. It just drags on forever. Not a good way to start off 2020, and this is the worst movie of 2020 so far. So with that being said, the movie The Grudge is just complete bullshit. And with that being said, I'm gonna give The Grudge an F. Anyways, there you guys have it. The first review of the decade. It's a shame that it was just it was just a waste of time to watch this movie and review it. But I do this for you guys. I like to watch all these various different movies to give my opinion out on them. And even though this is one of those movies where I just like forgot most of it, at least I was still able to crank out a review. So yeah, with that being said, don't watch this movie. Save your money for something better. I'm sure there's going to be better stuff along the way, especially February. February is a packed month. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.